Hello friends, this is Raj Sastry from Raj Option Trading. Today I want to talk about a stock called Pinterest, ticker symbol PINS. They're in the communication services. They are internet content and information management company. With that, today is August 5th, 2021. So as we look at the Pinterest, people like to get inspiration, especially they want to look at Pinterest to understand or get inspiration on what the next outlook, what the next dinner idea, what the next home project, and you fill the gap. I think people are really flocking to this platform to get inspiration. So with that, let's jump in and get started and see if this company is worth buying here. From a Glassdoor review perspective, a lot of folks love the CEO here. 87% approve the CEO Ben Silverman. He's also founder or a co-founder of the company. I think that's a great rating with a lot of people, with the 2248 ratings. I love companies with the highest or high approval ratings. That tells you folks are really liking to work in that company. Next, from a revenue perspective, I like this revenue clip here. Pinterest is doing nicely. They've been growing the revenue all the way from 2020 Q2, to 2021 Q2. Nice revenue growth here. Looks like they're growing very nicely in the international, markets. Even though the basis is small, but the growth rate is nice in the international market, and they're growing nicely in the US, 107%. That's this red number here, and also growing nicely globally. So revenue perspective, I think they're doing nicely. There's a revenue growth. And from a monthly active user perspective, I think this is the big news. As you can see here, they're growing globally and internationally, but in the US there is a decrease by 5% in the monthly active users. That's why stock came down after the quarterly earnings. We have to look at and see, is it a good buying opportunity with the stock dropping on this news about monthly active users dropping down. From an average revenue per user, or ARPU as we call it, I think they're doing nicely. Globally, 89% growth from an average revenue per user, and US a nice 103% growth. And the basis itself per user, the revenue is highest in USA, as you can see here, and internationally also they're growing nicely, even though it's on a lower basis, as you can see here. So in a nutshell, average revenue per user is very nice, even though it's low compared to stocks like Facebook. With that, from a at the high level, what company is doing? So Pinterest provides visual discovery engine in the United States and internationally. People really want to go to this platform to get inspiration, and I think these folks are doing very good job in recommending folks based on their interest levels. And company allows people to find inspiration in their lives, including recipes, style, home inspiration, DIY, and whatnot. They also have visual recommendations based on personal taste and interest. I think that's a great platform. People really want to, get recommendations on their interest levels. I think this company is doing it. And with the stock price is 60.13 and market cap is 38.76. So that's the high level context or background of this company. And from a stock price perspective, as you can see here, nice looking chart. I love it. Company caught fire back in 2020, especially after the COVID-19 shutdown. I think people flocked into Pinterest to get the ideas and inspirations. I think stock has done very well in 2020. In 2021, that's when stock is in the trading range, as you can see here. I see a nice support level around 60, as you can see here. I think stock might bounce back. Can it go a dollar or two down? It may, but it's a great opportunity to accumulate this quality stock like Pinterest at these levels here. And Ben Silverman, co-founder, he's a great guy. Before Pinterest, he was working with Google, and he also tried to do some iPhone app with his friend Paul Sierra. I think that's a venture that did not take any traction. Then he started Pinterest with Ivan Sharp and Paul Sierra. I think it's a great start here. He's turning his passion of collection and really trying to make some headway online. So with that, I think CEO Ben Silverman, also co-founder, checks out. I think it's a great CEO at the helm, who is also co-founder. And from a stock news perspective, big news: Pinterest hit by low user figures, and stock down 14% on July 29. And they did beat the earnings but missed on the monthly active users. That's why stock dropped big time, 14% in one day. And stock has been dropping slowly after that. And folks are really wondering, is it a good time to buy? And also, as you can see here, 3 growth stocks that will make you richer by Motley Fool. And should investor buy the dip? And also, Motley Fool finally saying it's a good stock to buy on sale. I agree with Motley Fool here. Right now, it's a good time to buy Pinterest, especially with the stock dropping like this, showing some traction on the support level at 60. So with that, let's jump in here. Let's look at the competition landscape for Pinterest. I love many of these companies. The way I sorted this chart is by 1 year performance year. Companies like MOXC Moxian, as you can see here, nice performance, 1 year 559. And also, I want to make a comment here. Not all these companies are direct competitors of Pinterest. Many of them are in the same sector and same industry, but some of them are direct competitors. So with that, I typically like to look at companies with the positive sales growth. In this case of Moxian, I think they don't have positive when it comes to 1 year, but 5 year they do. RSI is 40. It may be okay to buy some Moxian at these levels, but be careful, don't buy too much, especially because stock is dropping and there is some news about mergers and whatnot. And then we got Snap here. Great stock. I love the company here. I've been buying in the past, but right now RSI is 60. I would be a little careful. Wait for a small pullback and then add to your position here. And I love companies like Fiverr, great stock for working from home. Get your gig and work on the gig. Right now, Fiverr RSI is 48, tells you it's time to buy Fiverr. Also, nice performance. I love the performance. Stock has been dropping off late in 1 week, 2 week, and 1 month. 31% down. And same story, I love Groupon. Right now, stock is dropping. Sales growth is negative, as you can see here, but this company has been there for a long time. They will always do well. 128% performance in 1 year. Stock has been dropping off late. Good to buy some Groupon and keep it for a while. I love Twitter. Jack Dorsey at the helm. They're trying to really reinvent the company. Stock has been doing nicely from a sales growth perspective. RSI is 52. Tells you it's okay to buy slowly at this time. Stock has been dropping off in 1 week and 2 week. And then we got Google. Google, I would be a little careful to buy here with the RSI 70. Stock is almost at all-time high, down just 2% from 52-week high. I like Google, but I would wait for a little pullback and then buy Google. Then we got Pinterest, the stock that we are going to talk about today. A great stock, $60 stock, nice sales growth. I love this sales growth, double-digit sales growth, and also nice gross margin. As you can see here, 78%. Handily beats rule of 40, where quarter-over-quarter growth plus gross margin greater than 40 handily beats that number. And as you see here, RSI 34 tells you stock is oversold. You can buy the stock at this price. And from a performance perspective, stock has been dropping off in 1 week, 2 week, all the way to 6 months. That's why it's great to buy at this time. There is some turnaround, a little bit, yesterday, but a little bit early to call. But I would love to buy Pinterest at these levels. Stock is down 33% from 52-week high. Then you got Yelp. I love Yelp. Right now, stock has been dropping, as you can see here. RSI is 40. I would buy some Yelp at this time. And same story with Facebook. Facebook probably I would wait for a little pullback. RSI is 50. Stock has been dropping in 1 week. It's okay to buy a little bit, but I would wait for a little pullback here. And Match.com stock dropped yesterday after the earnings miss. After the earnings, I would buy some Match at these levels. Great stock. RSI is 49, tells you oversold, and the stock has been dropping, as you can see here. I love many of these companies. I love Baidu. Baidu, I would wait a little bit to buy, especially because of Chinese government crackdown. I know this company stock dropping badly for a long time and sitting there for a while. So that's why I would buy this in stages, buy a little bit now and wait and then buy more. I love Twilio, great company, great platform. Companies like Uber, as an example, they use this platform, and many other companies use Twilio's platform. They do great job, positive sales growth, nice gross margin, and also I think their RSI is 44. Tells you stock is oversold at this time. I would buy some Twilio at this time and hold it for a while. And same story, I love Yandex. Right now stock is oversold, as you can see here with the RSI 39. Cardlyti, same story. I would buy some at this downturn. NetEase, I love NetEase. Stock has been dropping off of late, as you can see here with the Chinese crackdown. I would buy some NetEase. DoorDas, again a great company. Stock has been dropping. Spotify, again great stock. I think the stock got clobbered, as you can see here. RSI is 28, which is very, very oversold at this time. I would buy some Spotify too. And then you got Tencent. With all the Chinese crackdown, stock has been dropping like a hammer. I would buy slowly and add to position. And then you got a couple more here. MOMO, ANGI, YYY, iQIYI. As you can see, our RSI is low for many of these. I would buy slowly, no hurry here, especially Chinese stocks. Buy slowly, don't be in a hurry. So with that, what we'll do is we'll go into Pinterest in a little more detail and see if it's a good time to buy Pinterest. From a quick statistics perspective, as you can see here, what do analysts do, right? And after the earnings, everybody knows there is issue with the monthly active users. It's down. Analysts come and do downgrade or a neutral, as you can see here. So nothing, anybody can do this. Once the result is out, if it is bad, just give some neutral ratings and give a negative bias for the stock. That's what is going on here. Monthly active users is down. After the earnings, these two analysts here kind of revised their guidance downwards. So I think it's a neutral at this time. They are not overly bearish, but I would look at this as a buying opportunity and buy some Pinterest at these levels. From an earnings per share perspective, as you can see here, right now, as of 2020, earnings per share is negative. That tells you company, at least back in 2020, was not making money. Nice sales growth. I love this sales growth here. I think they're doing nicely from a sales growth. Love this company from a sales growth perspective. And shares outstanding is pretty constant. So I think company knows how to manage the outstanding shares. And from a fundamental perspective, nice looking numbers here. I love sales growth here, 84% quarter over quarter. Nice gross margin, handily beats rule of 40. Quarter over quarter growth, sales growth plus gross margin greater than 40. Nice net margin, company is making money. And as you can see here, they do have positive ROE 6%, and stock has been dropping off in last 1 week all the way to 6 months. That's why it's a good opportunity to buy the stock. Stock is sold off, indicated by RSI, which is 34, very oversold at this time. It's done 67% in 1 year. That's a great performance. And stock is down 33% from 52-week high. And nice trading volume. I love this trading volume. In 1 day, 14 million shares traded, and every 3 months, 11 million shares traded. Very liquid stock. You could get in and get out if you want to, but there is no reason to trade this at this time. I would buy and hold Pinterest. Nice cash here, $2.1 billion cash and very low debt. Next year growth estimate is 42.90. That's a great estimate. That tells you Wall Street has conviction in the growth of this company. A lot of free cash here. They're spending money on R&D. They want to grow their platform. That's a great story. And they're below their 20, 50, and 120-day moving average. That's why stock is bearish at this time. I would take advantage of this short-term weakness and buy some Pinterest. And positive from a return on asset and return on equity. That tells the company is profitable, nice operating cash flow. I would not worry too much about price to earnings at this time, because companies like Pinterest, I think we should look at price to sales ratio instead, which is pretty reasonable. So with that, let's jump in and look at Pinterest from a fundamental perspective. So I love to see a company, and I love to look at the trend, how it's trending. This tool here, which is a quarterly snapshot of how company is doing, it's a great way to understand how company is trending. So if you look at Pinterest here, currently stock price is $60.13, market cap is $38 billion. If you see where the Pinterest came from, back on 2019, market cap was 14 billion, and slowly but surely it increased the market cap to 13 billion. I mean, a little bit down here, 13 billion. But from 2020, market cap has done nicely with all the shutdown, COVID-19 related shutdown. People flock to Pinterest platform. That's why you can see here market cap doubling from say 930 to 630, and even 630 2020 to 930 in 1 quarter. It almost doubled. So that tells you this brand Pinterest has got staying power. From a stock price perspective, I think there is a pretty nice clip here. $26 back in 630 2019, came down to $15 with the COVID related issues, but then it took off from 3 March 31. The stock price really took off and never looked back. Right now we have an opportunity to buy with this short-term weakness. And if you look at the sales number, nice looking sales number, consistent, 261 back in 630 2019. Now it's 613, which is great, $613 million in sales. And see, I love to look at the sales quarter over quarter change. Very nice change here. As you can see, a triple digit sales growth. You can't see this in many companies. And they have been surprising Wall Street with the positive revenue surprise. I love companies giving positive revenue surprise, and very predictable. They have stringed together a lot of quarters here with the positive revenue surprise and also positive earnings per share surprise. Wall Street loves predictability, and I think this company really has predictability when it comes to revenue surprise and earnings per share surprise. Nice cash. They've been improving their cash position, as you can see here. That's a testament to how well the companies run. And they do have some debt, but they've been decreasing the debt. That tells you companies got fiscal discipline to increase the cash, reduce the debt slowly but constantly. Free cash flow is pretty nice, as you can see here, and they got good operating cash flow. Gross margin is very nice. Internet type 79%. That's a great one, and they are positive from a operating margin and net margin. And ROA and ROE, return on asset equity, both are positive. Tells you company is profitable. I like to see these numbers a little higher, but I would take positive number anytime. Price to sales is 22.9. That tells you companies not very pricey from a valuation perspective. So from a trend perspective, I see companies trending in the right direction. There is a small bump in the road. That's why I feel like, hey, it's good to buy at this time slowly and accumulate. And from a performance perspective, as you can see here, nice performance in 2020 with the COVID shutdown. Everybody flocked into the platform, did nicely. 2019, they had negative 39%, 2021, 8%. And you could wonder by looking at this chart here, hey, you know what, is 2020 an anomaly? Because a lot of people stayed home, they went to Pinterest, got some inspiration. Now with the COVID shutdown, you could wonder, is it an anomaly? But I would think, hybrid work environment will continue. There will be some growth in this company as we go forward, and this company is trying to expand, into international markets, and also making the platform compelling with their new rich video content. And if you look at the monthly performance here, nice looking performance, huge drop, because of this earnings miss, not earnings miss, actually monthly active users dropped down. That's why 25% drop in one day. I would, take this as a buying opportunity and buy some. As you can see, your stock tried to bounce back a little bit here. I would really take advantage of this little bit and buy at this time. And if you look at the weekly performance here, big, huge drop with this earnings with this earnings related stock price drop with the monthly active users, but stock improved again. As you scan through here, anytime you see a big drop, stock came back nicely. Now there is a drop, I'm sure stock will come back. And same story if you look at the monthly numbers, big drop, came back nicely, drop, came back nicely. This company has a history of big double-digit drops, and it always comes back. If you look at the daily performance here, something similar here. Drop, came back here, drop, came back nicely. Now there's a huge drop. It's trying to make some progress, as you can see here. So I would really take advantage of this. Anytime company stock drops a lot, showing some strength in the nearer term. As you can see here, August 3rd and August 4th, there is some improvements. Stock is really trying to turn around and go up at this time. And if you look at the monthly performance pattern here, stock price is $60, market cap is 38.76 billion, and as you see here, they have dropped 25% in July. And if you see here, in the past, they have not dropped in July or even June for that matter. They dropped later in September in 2019. So anytime they drop here, for example, they dropped here, they picked up again. They dropped here, came back nicely. They dropped here, came back nicely. Dropped here for 4 consecutive months, but came back again here. So I feel like this company can bounce back nicely, from this temporary weakness. We don't have too much history about monthly earnings pattern, monthly pattern for this company, but by looking at the short history, they're telling you, hey, you know what, they can always bounce back. Whenever there's a huge sharp drop, like 20% drop here, they bounce back. 19% drop, bounce back. 23 and 22% drop. This must be really difficult for folks holding the stock, but they bounced back. Took a little while, but they bounced back. That's why I feel like if you have some patience level here, good to buy the stock here. Can it go lower by a point or two? It might, but it's a great time to buy Pinterest. So with that, if you look at the chart here, I got a 3-year chart here just to give you an idea about the longer term horizon here. As you see, a stock had not done much back in earlier on, as you can see here, but stock has caught fire in 2020, done nicely in 2020 from August onwards, did very great up until March 2021. But I think from then on, it's kind of in the trading range. As you can see, a nice trading range bucket here. Right now they dropped to this 60 levels. I think 60, as you can see here, very nice support level. I would buy the stock at these levels and hold it for a while. Now let's look at a 1 year daily chart that tells you a little better idea from an indicator perspective. As you can see here, nice looking trading range here. Stock is at 60, which is a nice support level. And from an RSI perspective, stock has dropped. RSI is now trying to improve, which is a good story. It's a turnaround story at this time. And implied vol is very low, 16%. That tells you even if you're an option buyer, you could buy some call option probably below the current stock price and hold it for a long time, maybe 100 plus days out. And from a DMI perspective, what do you expect? I mean, after the huge drop, the chart will be ugly. So the blue line is below red line and distance is pretty significant. That tells you right now the stock is bearish. But as you see here, the red line wants to trend down and the blue line wants to trend up. That tells you there is some improvement, and the bearish position is really become a little bit softer, and bullish position is taking shape at this time. And from an average volume perspective, on the balance volume, huge drop after the earnings, but right now there is some improvement. That's always good to know. That tells you folks are buying into the share of Pinterest at this time. And check in money flow, pretty much predictable here. After a huge drop, check in money flow came down. Now the smart money is going into the stock, which is always the case. Big players want to snap up the shares of Pinterest, take advantage of this huge drop, and we should do that. We should do that too. And if you see what the option market is telling us, right now stock is $60, as you can see here. And if you look at the $60 strike price here, lot of interest. People are buying the call options at 60, even at 65, 70. That tells you there is a lot of conviction in the options market. People are buying this call option for Pinterest at higher strike price. Similarly, I think people are really buying some put options, but the volume perspective looks like we have more call volume than put volume. That tells you in the options market, people are really betting this company's stock will go up. A different way to look at this is really by looking at Thinkorswim, today's option statistics. That tells you total total call volume is 102, 102,000 contracts, but total put volume is 32,000 contracts. That makes the put call ratio 0.321. So that tells you there is a lot more call contracts traded than put contracts. That's a bullish indication. So I would agree with the sentiments in the options market. I would probably buy some stock itself or some call option and take it from there. And if you look at the last earnings statement, the CEO, co-founder and CEO Ben Silverman, he kind of talked through with his lieutenants. The company beat the earnings per share by 12 cents. That's a good surprise here. They also beat the revenue by 51.07%. Very nice quarter over quarter, or the revenue improvement here. And news perspective, looks like the big news here is they saw some decrease in the engagement as stay-at-home orders erased around the world. No people are really moving around. That's why folks are not flocking into Pinterest platform, because they're on the road or at work. So that's the big news here. That's why stock dropped big time after the earnings announcement. But the revenue improved nicely, 125%. I would love it. And looks like they have more and more advertisers in US and around the globe. That's really great. And as you see here, main news is really because folks are really going back to work. That's why there is some ease when it comes to monthly active users. I think they feel like they can improve the situation from here, and it can get better. And they saw some momentum with the large advertisers, I think especially retailers. That's a good one that will help them to monetize the platform much better. And also, by looking at the future into Q3, they feel like there will be some headwinds, meaning there may be some drop off in the monthly users, but on the revenue side they expect revenue to grow, in the lower 40s. So overall, the big news is around Pinterest. Can monthly active users grow? I think that's why with that little bit, ambiguity, stock dropped big time. But I think these guys can do well. There are more and more advertisers coming in, and looks like there is some positive traction from a revenue perspective, from a monetization perspective. From an insider trading perspective, as you can see here, the co-founder and chief design officer here, Evan Sharp, looks like he has sold a lot of these, positions here. And even Ben Silverman, the CEO here, he also sold a lot of these shares. So I would not worry too much about it, because as you see here, insiders have sold, but the institutions, they have nice position here, and they're also buying, but very slowly. That's why this is also putting some pressure on the stock, because all these insiders, they sold a lot. As you see here, all these sales happened in July and June, which is pretty recent. With this much shares coming into the market and earnings dropping big time, not earnings, the share price dropping, that will put some pressure on this company. But longer term, I think it's a bump in the road. This company can do nicely. So with that, what should I do now? So Pinterest hit by low user figures, stock down 14% in one day, but I think down around 23% so far after the earnings. They beat on the earnings but fall on the monthly active users number, missed the estimates. So that's the big number. That's the reason why stock dropped around 22% after the earnings. And on the positive news though, the revenue increased 125%. That's a good story. And there are more and more advertisers in the US and around across the globe trying to flock into their platform. That's also good. And they got in the monthly active users on the mobile platform, that grew. I think that's a good indication. Even though folks are moving around on the road at work, they're using their mobile app. There is a good traction in the mobile app. It grew 20%. I think this trend will continue as folks go on the road, to work. They will start using the mobile platform versus the traditional desktop type platform. The co-founders are still at the helm, both Evan Sharp as well as Ben Silverman. I love the companies where co-founders are still at the helm. That shows they still have fire in their belly, and they can take the company to even better growth. And Pinterest is really at the beginning of the fundamental transition. They are going into the rich interactive videos, which will really captivate the audience and bring in advertisers. So I feel the stock is oversold at this time. I would start accumulating. Probably it's a good one to accumulate at this time. Great support level at 40. I think it's a good one to accumulate and hold for a long time. If it drops a buck or two, I would accumulate and hold for a very long time. So with that, thank you very much. Happy investing and trading. Please subscribe.